So energy both high and low and everything in between. And what is energy and all of those wonderful things. So and we're in very different energetic states, aren't we?
Oh.
I have to sort of hold it like this for anyone to be able to see it. For those of you listening, I'm now holding the clarity compass to my nose so the viewers can see it. So the energy high, low. I am high energy, but then I am back from my travels, back in the UK, at my auntie's house. I'm excited. I've got Christmas lunch with my son who's at university, and that's going to involve a Kentucky Fried Chicken stuffing stacker. Come
I
on.
mean, if ever there existed a true Christmas lunch, I think that is it. That must be it, a Kentucky Fried Chicken stacker. Sounds perfect.
It's the stuffing layer that makes it, though. I absolutely love stuffing. So I'm very excited about that. So my energy is high.
Well, I've started to see that there's a bit of a pattern on a Monday morning, and on a Monday morning, I normally start with my energy low. However, you quickly shift that, and we've already been chatting for half an hour before we decided to press record.
Well, we really should record this.
Yeah. And I can already feel that I'm feeling a lot more, right, okay, come on then. But, half an hour ago, when I started, I chose two cards. You can't see them very well on my camera. Um, but I feel overwhelmed. And the other one, which I didn't show you, was I want to go home, even though I am home. But it's that feeling of just let me go home and just, go back to bed and
Give me
pretend
a
that life
duvet day.
life isn't happening. I don't want to do life today. So these are my low energy unease cards. But I already anticipate that I will be in a completely different zone by the time we finish this. Hopefully. So yeah, no pressure, Linz, but I need you to shift my energy.
I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. So let's start with our sort of definitions of energy. Um, and I don't know whether it was pre or post recording where you did because I think energy is quite a difficult thing to define because it's something we experience, isn't it? And it can change in an instant. Like you say, as soon as we got on the call, we were both like, what should we talk about?
Why are we even doing this?
Why are we doing this?
Oi.
No
I
one
press record. I was
cares.
like, oh my God, I love talking. I love the sound of my own voice. Let's go.
Soon as we came on, it was just like, oh, we connect, and that week's flown by, and there's been all kinds of shit in that week that we'd really rather forget about, that has just zapped the energy from our very living soul.
Yes, what a lovely definition of this last week.
There you go. And that's my definition of energy is, it's something we experience and but I also, there is hope. I would like to say, yes, it can be zapped from us, but we can also do things to build it. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. What's your definition?
It makes me think of two things. It makes me think of like, the physical energy that we have, that we need, that we use on a day-to-day basis to get through and to do things and to move forward. So almost like this idea of consuming food to get energy as the catalyst to live our lives and create the lives that we want. And then without turning this into, a witchy spiritual podcast, because we're not in Halloween anymore, we're now at Christmas. Um, the energy, like you say, that I'll just talk about myself, that I experience when I'm with people, when I'm, working with people, it's something that is becoming more and more obvious to me as I kind of walk along this part of my journey, where I am at the minute, and how I'm becoming very, very sensitive to other people's energies. And like you say, like experiencing it almost physically within my body, and that side of energy, that's something that, like you said, is harder to actually describe, but is there all the time and makes such a huge difference in the way that we then experience our day to day.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think in the past, like you say, when you're at school, they teach you what energy is. And we could look up the definition, but let's give some homework to I was going to say the
To our
reader,
listeners.
reader, the caller, the listener, that's the one. Because I think in the past, energy I thought was something that happened almost to us, and I wasn't conscious of it. I don't think. I don't think I had that consciousness of where is my energy today. It was just like, oh, it's Monday. Oh, I've got to do this thing. Uh, um, and so I think I just rode the wave of energy as a passive bystander, almost kind of going, it's up, it's down, it's here, it's there. I will ingest something, like you say, maybe food, maybe something else to change my energy. I want to feel like this. What can I do to? But it was a very, I want to say the word unhealthy. I think a very
Uh-huh.
unhealthy, you know, interventions to cope with energy states I didn't like.
Yeah.
Too tired, too hot, too this, too that, So yeah, I suppose my relationship with it in the past was quite unhealthy.
Well, but then I think what you said, that goes back to the way that, we were taught about energy. It was like it was very
Mhm.
much part of physics class. And this is
Yeah,
what energy is, and this is what we do, and this is how we can control it. And you want more
yeah,
energy. Do this, put something into your body. And so, yes, maybe unhealthy at times, but also just logical considering that you didn't have a wider knowledge, a wider understanding of energy. So I think maybe you were just reacting to the information that you'd been given. If I feel like this and I want to feel like this, what do I do? Oh, you can take this. Cool. Off you go. If I feel like this and I want to feel like this, what do I do? Okay, try this. Brilliant. And off you go and you take it. So yes, maybe not the best way long term to deal with it, but I also think that it's probably just a natural phase that most of us go through because we don't know that any other way exists in the beginning.
yeah, yeah. It's those teens and twenties bits where you're just trying to find yourself, aren't you? I mean, it shifted in thirties and forties, but how was your relationship with energy in the past?
Uh, I don't really know. Obviously, my mind automatically takes me to health, especially
Yeah.
at the minute, like energy wise. Um, I admitted to my sister, which is the hardest thing for me to do. She's my mirror always. And I admitted to her the other day that I'm getting dangerously too close to where my energy is not in a safe place. Um,
Mm,
so I think very much where I am at the minute, but in general, just what I've lived through the last few years, automatically that's where my brain goes.
yeah.
And thinking back to when I was younger, um, it was all the rage when I was a teenager. They were always testing everyone for scarlet fever. You're lethargic, scarlet fever. You've got a cold, scarlet fever. Whereas now that I'm a mum and, I have a 13-year-old and also I've worked with a lot of teenagers, I'm like, no, this is just the natural stage that teenagers go through where
Yep.
they're apathetic and they
Yep.
are lazy unless they want to do something.
Yep.
And Nicholas is and almost literally growing by the day. And so
Yep.
the amount of energy that his body needs for that, it means that his defenses are lower. And so he's constantly, getting a sore throat on. And now I see it as a natural part of just the process that he's going through and where he's at, like you said, teenagers looking for these things to, try and rebalance it. But when I was younger, there was this constant question of you're like, oh, there must be something going on.
Yeah, yeah.
She wants to lie on the couch and watch,
Mm.
I can't even think what I'd watch. I want to say Button Moon, but that wasn't when I was a teenager, and so that's what I think about my energy levels when I was a teenager, that maybe there was this focus on the fact that I didn't have all this energy was because there was a problem.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting that then health has become such a huge part of my life,
Yeah.
um, limiting beliefs and all of those things that get installed in our
Yeah.
brains. Did I self-medicate and self-regulate? Um, Probably, but not in because we're British. It's so funny. I was listening to a podcast the other day. In fact, it was Jude Law. Jude
Oh,
Law. I was listening to an interview with him, and he was talking about how he became sober when he moved to the US.
oh,
And there everyone was, he just found it so much easier because there was this culture of not necessarily binge drinking.
yes.
And so, what in the US seemed like it was a problem, the amount that he was drinking, he said he'd go back to the UK and everybody would be like, "Oh, you don't have a problem. Like, this is fine. This is an all right amount." So, going back to did I self-regulate? Did I self-medicate, drinking and doing other things to try and change my energy?
Yeah,
Probably, yes.
yeah,
If I
yeah,
would
but
step
because
out
everyone was doing it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if I step out of my bubble, I'll be like, yeah, 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 I did. Do I do I on a subconscious level think it was too much? No, because it was
Hmm.
the norm and that was what
Yeah,
everybody was doing.
yeah, exactly. I think the shift came from that to more conscious choices was in my 30s when I think that energy equation of put food in, burn it off kind of thing
Yeah.
shifted. So when I had my second child in my 30s, the weight just piled on. And so there was something obviously not quite right in that energetic equation, which made me then I suppose, reevaluate some of my choices and my body. And then, you re educate yourself around energy. And so 2008 is when I did the marathon. And then you become really conscious of those equations of how your body responds to certain foods, how your body responds to endurance training, and everything changes. Um,
Interesting that you kind of went from one extreme to the other. But also I just want to add this in because and any doctors listening, you might not agree with me and you might be like, she's clueless, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But what instinctively came to me when you were like, and I put the weight on when I was having it's kind of I also think that you were growing a baby
oh yeah, yeah.
in
Oh,
your
and I
body.
also that was almost like an excuse to eat, though, because the
Yeah,
weight came on
but
pre, and
that's
then it was like,
okay.
now I'm pregnant.
But it's okay because it was kind of that was kind of what your body was obviously
Mm,
asking for, this comfort, squidgy, gorgeous little space for that baby who is now gorgeous and amazing and incredible, let me just say. You created this fluffy, warm,
very, very
yummy
cozy.
cocoon for him to grow in. And I think that's okay as well.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
really, really do think that's okay, even though
Yeah,
doctors will say, no, it's not.
yeah. I suppose it's that feeling again, isn't it? It's our knowledge of our own body, and food was becoming the self-medication
Mhm.
because that was then an accepted thing. In your 20s, it's and then in your 30s, like food and wine and da, 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 da. And yeah, that I could feel my energy wasn't where it I wanted it to be. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's when there was that conscious shift between wake up and take responsibility for yourself, and you can alter how you because feelings and energy, I think, are so intertwined. Lots of people will separate them as, like you say, it's an equation of kilojoules and but is it? Is it though?
I mean, I don't think so. Like, I really don't think so. And
Mm.
the more I go forward, the more I feel that they are not separate things. A huge moment for me was when I was doing my coaching certification. It was a very, very intense, almost 2 year period. And the first, so the type of coaching that I do, because it's based on humanist psychology, the first module, which was 3 months, was like uh, being thrown into a humanist psychology degree, for 3 months. And so we had to do huge, huge. Oh, we have a visitor.
We have a
That dog,
visitor.
that doggy.
Oh,
Sorry.
thank you very much.
Bye. So we kind of did a quick, really quick um humanist psychology degree in 3 months as
Wow.
the basis, and it was amazing. But it was hardcore, and I'm a geek at heart, so I loved every second of it. I was like, yes, give me more. But a
Yeah.
lot of my colleagues were like, this is too much. And one of the books that I needed to read that was part of the syllabus was Dr. Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And
Wow.
it absolutely changed the way that I saw the inner workings, of
Yeah,
um
recording here, but it's fine. Don't look at the other one. No, okay. I'm not going anywhere. Oh no, I am going somewhere.
um the inner workings of everything. And whereas for many years the belief was that our genes were everything, and that
Exactly. And you had no control over it. Yeah, exactly.
so you were
Yeah.
just given this bingo card, and if
Yeah.
it worked, then great, and if it
Yeah.
didn't, you were screwed. Whereas
Exactly.
he was one of the pioneers behind what's now known as epigenetics, and
Exactly.
and epigenetics studies the power of energy, and so how energy then can open the switch or close the switch, and
Mm,
on a cellular level, that there's so much more going on behind it
yeah.
than just the biology and what
Yeah.
we were taught at school in, chemistry,
Exactly.
biology, and physics,
Yeah.
that there's more. And now that's being accepted as a scientific truth, whereas it wasn't for a very long time. And so that then changed my whole worldview about energy and emotions. He talks a
Yeah.
lot about emotions and how everything is interlinked and entwined.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's amazing.
It is amazing. And it's that shift. So it made me think about the physics we taught at school and it being binary is the wrong use of language. And like you say, there'll be experts. No, there's never going to be experts listening to this. But
There
anyway,
might be.
if there
He-
were ever, they'd be going, oh no, that's not what it is. But that physical and then quantum physics and the link between quantum physics, epigenetics, all of these things, this interrelation between how we operate and function both as individuals but also as a collective. And I think that's really important and powerful too. And the shift came for me, the first shift was when I left IBM in 2007 and went to train in NLP. And one of the reasons I left corporate life was because I was witnessing such ill health. So, on an instinctive, intuitive level, I kind of thought this environment, with this toxic environment that we're working in this corporate world, is having an effect on people's health. People were dying from cancer, brain tumors, sudden, and I was just thinking, this is not healthy. And working in systems, but IT systems and thinking, but it's the people systems.
Yeah.
It's just the so literally thinking about energy. I was working on data centers and how can we get more energy into this space? And it's just like, oh my God. But thinking about, but it's the people that bring the energy. Yes, we rely completely on these systems. God knows what will happen when the world that when these IT systems finally fail, which they will, because we'll be reliant on people again. And that's the fascinating thing. And when I first did NLP, this whole mindset piece, how we talk to ourselves and each other creates our reality. And people were like, what? And I'm like, no, it's true. I can say to myself, I'll never run a marathon, or I can say, I can't run a marathon yet. And, so just those little subtle shifts in language alter our energetic state and our reality and all of those things. And I fundamentally believe in that. We talked about manifestation briefly last week, but that's where it comes from is our belief in the outcome, our belief in it being possible. The words we're saying ourselves to create the opportunities and the openings into which we can step. That's, that for me is where this energy shift happens. And that's where I think we as coaches can create those realities for people who aren't quite there yet for whatever reason, or have found success in one area of their life but are struggling to transfer it perhaps into.
Yeah, or offer them the tools so that they can see these new
Yeah,
possibilities.
yeah,
My one of my tutors when I was doing the masters, Miguel Angel Vasquez, lovely man. and an eminence, in social coaching field. He was the person that brought it over to Spain, like incredible mind. And I remember that he offered us this image of when we're talking about distinciones, so I don't even know what word that would be in English anyway, it doesn't matter. But whenever he was talking about distinciones, he would give us this image of, you know, when you go out into the world at night, and you step out of the door, and you're somewhere and there's no light pollution, you look up into the sky, and what do you see? You see hundreds and thousands of stars, and you're like, wow, it's so beautiful. But if you've never been shown that, oh, look here, this one, this one, this one, and this one all together, that's a constellation. That's the Great Bear, or, that's Sagittarius, that those things are there. But until someone shows you, you're only ever going to see stars.
Yeah.
But once you are shown, the combination of these things together can then produce this beautiful, image, whatever you want to call it, within this sky full of stars. And that always stuck with me as as that's what I feel my role is in this new job
Mm.
that I've chosen to do, that all those things are there. Maybe some people just can't see the constellations
Yeah.
because all they're seeing are the stars, and all they need is someone to hold their hand and be like, but look here,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see a whole different world and a whole different picture.
And the other thing that came up as you were describing your love of learning, basically as a strength, when you were talking about going into that course and other people going, it's too much, and you're going, no, give me more, give me more, and the impact of our strengths. So how people see things is different. We are, we all have these different strengths, different ways of being. But the impact of things like your love of learning, and I could see you light up, literally, like, give me, I want more, I want to learn it all. And how that changes our reality when because we sometimes, and I don't know whether it's a British trait, I've done this around the world, and I think Brits can be quite humble around, oh no, I don't really want to shout, blow my own trumpet and things like
Yeah.
that. But someone else can shout, recognition. We're quite high on recognition.
You tell everyone how
Yeah,
amazing,
you tell
and
everyone
I
how good I
can't,
am.
but
Point
you
my
do
own
it.
strengths out to me. Exactly. So, like showing people the stars is showing them their strengths, is shining that light on them to go, but look how amazing you are. And seeing them come alive and light up and kind of go, oh, but I'm a thing. I'm a lawyer. I'm a leader. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm a that. And that's my direction of travel. That's who I am. But it's not, it's just what you do. Who you are is the love of learning. Who you are is the creativity. Who you are the things you bring to that role that you can take anywhere with you. And I think that expansion, and that's where this growth and, and that is what's so exciting about the work we do, is that opportunity to create a world where everyone shines. I just
And
think it's
you by telling someone, by you putting the mirror up to that person, be like, look how amazing you are. You can do this and this. That then gives them permission to start believing it themselves.
absolutely.
But last weekend, when as everyone knows, because I cried about it on the last episode, about how grateful I was for the amazing experience that I'd had in the UK with my niece and nephew. And on the Saturday, we went to Oxford. I cannot remember the name of.
Box for today.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. And I don't remember the name of this bookshop, but it's the bookshop that's got the world record for the biggest bookshop on one level. Anyway, it's got various levels now. I went into this bookshop, and talking about energy, as soon as I walked in there, I was like, I want to live here.
Yeah, I'm going to set up my little camp
I
here.
just want to live here forever. And I said to Jose, if ever I disappear, this is where you will find me. And I went down onto the bottom floor, and it kind of had levels. And so the lowest level, there were leather armchairs, and people were just sat in them
Mm.
reading. And I sat down just for a couple
With
of
big
minutes.
fluffy socks on and, just curled up in a
They
chair.
were too academic. They were too
Oh,
clever. No, but it didn't matter. I sat there and felt so at peace. And I felt like this, this is my space. This is where I should be. And, talking about manifesting and about visualizing, I don't know when, and because I have no time at the minute, but at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to Oxford by myself, at least for a couple of days. And I'm just going to go and sit in that bookshop and I'm going to write and I'm going to read and I'm just going to be there because my energy shifted as soon, and like, and okay, this is a bit woo woo now, but who cares? But like to be around all of those words and like the energy from the books
yeah,
and
yeah.
like the knowledge and the wisdom, and I could feel it in that bookshop. And oh God, I just loved it. And I want to live in Oxford now. I want to leave my whole life so I can go live in Oxford and just sit and write in that bookshop every day.
I'm going to put it out there, along with the Victoria's Secret modelling contract, that we're going to do a
Yes.
podcast on Victoria's Secret some point in the future. Is that we're also going to go to Oxford and speak or run a workshop or have some kind of interaction because I feel the same. I had imposter syndrome, like you wouldn't believe, and it's not even like I went to Oxford University. I went to Oxford Brookes, but the whole experience was this massive shift in my belief in myself.
Mm.
Who I'm gonna swear here, so apologies if people don't like swearing, just mute or something.
Don't listen
Who
to
the
us.
fuck do you think you are going and doing a doctorate? What? And in Oxford, and you're going to go to these bookshops where there's all these academics who actually know what they're talking about. Because who are you? You don't know what you're talking about. And really, at the end of the day, all I can speak from is my own experience of knowing things that I don't think science has yet caught up with. So all those words and all those books, and you read Bruce Lipton, you read Joe Dispenza, David Hamilton, all these experts in their field. And yes, they have this biological,
Element.
knowledge that they're using. And I'm kind of like, but why is my lived experience any less important? Why are we not talking to people about what they've experienced? Because yes, science can prove certain things, but we can also disprove them.
Mhm.
So these voices of people who sit in bookshops who feel an energetic shift, that's a thing.
Yeah.
We just don't know how to measure it yet.
But also, I mean, I would, because I'm not a scientist and because, you come from a different background and you've done your doctorate and you're very much about empirical evidence and, you did your
It's the point.
investigation.
I wasn't. That's the thing. I'm now potentially, especially by new people I meet, seen as that thing, but that has been a becoming. I've
Yeah.
only really recently kind of gone, oh, I did do a thing, and I'm still questioning it on my low days. Is like, still go, who the fuck do you think you are? Because who I am I've still got the voices in my head that say I'm shit.
Yeah, of course, of course. Um and depending on the day, we hear those voices louder, or we have the strength to be like, no, actually, I'm great. I'm great, and you're
Do
just,
you know who I am? Do you know
you
what?
know, Lindsay, tell the world how great I am.
Shine the light.
But also, I'll put the mirror up to you for a minute. Also, maybe without you realizing that is also a part of you. If you think about what you're doing with your traveling around the world and yes, you're doing it from a connection basis. And yes, you're doing it, I'm going to throw in the word studying the experiential side. And, you want to talk about people's experience, but you're also collecting all of this data. There
Mm.
is a part of you, wherever it is, on whatever level, that is like, oh, and this is interesting. Oh, and this is happening. Oh, everybody's talking about connection. That's interesting in this country. I see that. So there is a part of your brain that does naturally do that analysis. And no, it's not all of you, but it's also a part, and it's one of your talents. And it's one of the things where you do shine because your brain works in this way that you can see these patterns. And that's why the world has this, this lovely tool of your clarity cards, because you've been able to take all of the experience of people that you interviewed and worked with, and the studies that you did to get your doctorate, and then use that to create something wonderful to offer to the world. And like you said before, you were doing data collection, all of those things with IBM. You know, is there a part of you that's like that, but maybe you just don't want to see as being part of who you are because no, I'm the experience and I'm about the human and I don't care about the data. But I think you do as
No,
well.
I do. But
And
like
they can
you, I
both
think,
be together,
yeah,
one or the
in
other.
another world with another set of parents and another upbringing, I'd love to have studied physics. I mean, I've self-funded a quantum physics course. I love it, and I watch all those shows, and I kind of think, if only I'd had the opportunity. As a woman, I think in the 70s, girl in the 70s, the investment in my education, in both. So
It's a
it
different
just
world.
wasn't to be. Um, so we are where we are.
Thank goodness, because now we have you in this version, which is also pretty great. And I love you, but if you were more like boffiny and all about physics, I might be like, oh, she's very clever. I'll read a book, but I probably wouldn't want to be friends with you. So, it's good. I'm glad. I'm glad we get this one.
Wins.
So what, so in one sentence,
Hmm.
where's your energy at now?
If I were to go on the horizontal axis, there's a bit of disease there now with with that realization of a life, a different life, and you just think, God, yeah, imagine sitting in that bookshop and just being totally absorbed by books and knowledge and learning. And it's like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more. And it can be overwhelming. And sometimes I would love to go back to the not knowing. Just like, can I just unlearn, because you can't unlearn things, can you, right?
I
So
do
there is
think
that
there
kind
is
of like,
I do think that there is a simpler life.
yes,
Less
yeah,
that you
yeah,
know
yeah,
sometimes. It's very black and white.
yeah, which Craig constantly reminds me of because I'm like, well, why don't you? Because we go to all these places and I want to learn everything about them. And his parallel life, we're on this journey together, but having a parallel experience because I want to learn everything and he doesn't need to, genuinely
Josse's the
doesn't.
same. Jose is
He's like, give me the
very,
headlines.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And maybe they're happier in
Hmm.
certain
And
respects.
that's the thing, isn't it? But we both share a love of learning strength. And so we're not going to be able to switch that off
No.
because that's what lights us up. And we're lucky enough to have found husbands who admire that in us and don't say, could you just learn less, please? Yeah. So we are incredibly lucky. What about you in one sentence?
Energy right now. No words.
Mm.
Maybe there's too much energy
Yeah.
right now, too much energy, which
Yeah.
is overwhelming, too much energy coming from too many places. And I don't feel like I have the space to hold all of that energy. And so I want to run away to Oxford and sit in the bookshop. Or the second option would be a lovely wooden cabin in the middle of a forest where there's no one and a fire and
I'm
lots
going to a
of yeah.
horror movie there, though.
Oh no, this is a really safe one.
Okay, good.
Really, really safe one because I
Excellent.
hate horror movies. So obviously I don't want to be murdered and I will
Yeah.
feel safe there. Um, maybe it's a wooden cabin inside a complex, but no one's allowed in my space.
Perfect. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling the need to take a step back from all of the crazy energy so that I can get my own back on balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the relationship between energy and for me, I went to ease to you. You were sort of describing, being in a cabin that I might get murdered in. Oh no, but being in a cabin that feels safe. Yeah, yeah, that's the So how these things are all interrelated and our experience of them, and it, like you said, there are no words. And I think that's also part of the point is that sometimes we have difficulty describing.
Mm.
And I remember when I first had key massages, I think I've mentioned Joe Brown before. And she knew I was struggling to find the words, so she asked me to give it a shape and a color, which I could immediately do.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, oh, give it a color, black, give it a shape, sticky. Because I could go there. My brain could think of that. It couldn't think of words. So it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it just took me back to a workshop that I was in recently, and I think it's this workshop. I think it was this one. And she asked us to think of a color, think of a shape, but there was a third thing that she asked us to do. And then at the end of the workshop, there was a guided meditation, hypnosis. And then within the meditation, you know, or the hypnotic meditation, she then asked us individually to bring back our, oh, it was a smell. It was a smell, a shape, a color, and a smell, but linked to, you know, a time where we feel at peace and calm. So it was a workshop around modulating emotions and, you know, regulating experiences. And then
Yep.
she anchored it in with this hypnosis thing. And mine was pink. It was a fluffy cloud, and I can't remember what the smell was. It was probably lavender or something. But I was really surprised when I then, you know, came out of it and thought about it later on. I was like, they're such girly things, you know, and I'm not girly. I'm not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
pinky princessy girly, but how automatically it was that type of like really feminine,
yeah.
soft,
Yeah.
just like pinky and fluffy and oh, just so lovely that was what calmed me.
There is a an Osho Zen card that is exactly that, and it's trust. I'll send it to you afterwards because it's literally a pink fluffy cloud
Oh,
and
really?
falling into it. So as soon as you said it, I went, that's the space. That's so it doesn't have to be girly because for men as well, there's that feeling of almost relaxation, trusting that you'll be caught by the cloud, that when people are making difficult choices, they stand on the edge for absolutely ages, going, I can't do it, I can't jump. No, 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 no. I'd rather stay in this shitty job in the corporate life than go over there that I don't know. And this card that kept coming up for me when I was trying to make these hard decisions was trust. Take the leap. The cloud, there's another leap in the net will appear, but it was the image of the pink fluffy cloud that I would just go, all right then, I'm gonna do it. And then this just beautiful experience.
Something caught you. Whatever
Yeah,
it was, you were safe and
yeah,
something caught you.
exactly. So leaving the black spikes and leaping into the pink fluffiness is just amazing. Yeah.
So, energy in the future.
Well, I've already put it out there that we're going to be in Oxford doing this incredible thing and
Fantastic.
not talking about energy. Obviously, there'll be words involved, but experiencing energy. So, what you've just described in that workshop about helping people to navigate through these tools that, are so simple, it's frightening. You kind of think, would people actually come to a workshop about something that's so bloody simple? Because we're giving all the tools away here, right? We're not saying we're going to keep it a secret and you've got to come to
No,
our workshop to find it out. It's like, please do it.
just do
But
it and you'll be
there's
fine.
magic in coming together.
Yeah.
That's where the magic happens as well. Not saying you can't do this on your own, you absolutely can. It's just, I think, when we come together in these spaces, the magic is magnified. It's like, that's how I feel about the future is this incredible magical space where we experience energy together, the highs, the lows, it's all meant to be. It's not like we're aiming for pink and fluffy. Let's go there.
No, that's grey. We can't go left. Let's go right towards pink and fluffy.
So yeah, that I have a very strong sense of, yeah.
That's interesting because that is in all the different things that I'm doing at the minute, you know, that's the underlying current that's running through them, you know, this power of connection, the power of how together we create something more beautiful and more special. And it's got nothing to do with objectives and it's got nothing to do with where we're going. It's about just experiencing it together.
Yeah.
And the phrase that I'm always using, which again, my sister, she's like, "Ugh, you're always saying that," but like holding each other's hands
Yeah,
just
yeah,
while we go through it.
exactly. And I have to say, here and now, it's you asked last week. Is it yin and yang? Yin and who? You yin, but
Yin and
male
the other Y
feminine,
word.
right? Because there's so many things for women right now, and I'm like, we're heading in the wrong direction. This isn't about women need to do this. No, no. It's we are unified. We are different, but we are together. The male female energy, I believe, only works when it's in synchronicity. And so for me, this connection and the reason it's like, yes, lots of women have said, yes, I'm a woman, and so maybe that's easier, but the men come through as well. And this realization that we are all just human and that energetically we work best when we're in harmony together. So for me, it is about bringing us all as humans, whatever race, creed, gender, together. That's it. And that hugging will be a thing.
Yay! I
It
love
can
hugging.
surprise language. And there's this magical moment of melting when at the end of these interviews we just hug and it's just lovely. And whether it's men or women or, it's just it's a human need. And the people who are there are anti-huggers out there. I know it. And I respect that. I do absolutely respect that. It's just to find something that helps you melt,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever that happens to be.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm very touchy-feely. And sometimes,
All of the touching,
all of the touch.
all of it.
And sometimes, I work with people that are absolutely not, you know,
Mhm.
and even when they are at the end of the session, I'll, always ask, like, is it okay if I give you a hug? Can we touch, please?
Please, can we hug?
And some people are, like, absolutely not. Do not touch me. Do not come into my personal space. But that connection, I still feel it. So
Yeah,
yes, I'm very tactile. Yes, you are very tactile. But I think it's also important, because we've been talking about energy and about how energy works on so many different levels. And it's not just this physical thing, how you can feel that connection and that exchange of energy and that exchange of the moment of, okay, I'm here, you're here, we're just together. And that can be in a look. It could
yeah,
be in a quick side eye, somebody I worked with, somebody who um was very much on the spectrum. And so, physical touch was a no-no for them.
yeah.
But for me, the moment of connection was when this person actually felt comfortable to look at me.
Mm, there's
And it was
something,
huge, like
yeah,
huge. And I felt it
yeah,
exactly the same way
yeah,
that I would have
yeah,
done if that person and I
yeah.
had have hugged.
Exactly. Heart math, I think, is an amazing tool. So it measures coherence. And when we think about our electromagnetic field, actually some people get so and when you're in coherence, you feel it. You don't have to be in physical contact, just proximity.
Yeah.
And when you're in coherence, and we do it as coaches because we build rapport to
Mm.
enable this coherence to happen. And so those unseen energetic connections that we have between us, when you reach coherence, like you say, you don't need to hug because actually you're already doing it through this incredible electromagnetic field that we're all emitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Science has proven that we don't need to question it because it's measurable, right?
There, it's absolutely.
So yeah, and like you say, it's like a metaphorical hug because we feel it.
I mean, what you were, talking about rapport and all of these things that we naturally do, the way that I kind of explain it when, I'm in session or whenever I talk about it, is like the idea of a bubble. So
Hmm.
the beginning of, the process with someone, the journey with someone, you know, in the very first session, if I do my job well, then we create this bubble that's just ours. And then within that bubble, there's the safety to explore anything that
Yeah,
comes up because we know So, it's like being back in the log cabin where there aren't any murderers. It's in the
Yes.
safe one. So the idea of rapport for me is the
Kathy Bates, wasn't it? That film years ago. So, and whenever anyone says log cabin, this jarring in my mind happens. The Kathy Bates, I don't even know what film and I think she is a writer in a cabin, and it's
I, d-
I
no, no,
can't
no, no, no,
unlearn it.
no,
It's
no,
another
no,
thing. I
no, I don't want to know because I'm the biggest baby ever. I cannot watch anything. I have nightmares. I know that thought cannot go into my mind
right.
because I need to be in a log cabin, quiet, and I need to not be murdered when I'm there. So,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Okay, so no, thank you, Lindsay. I don't want to hear about Kathy Bates being murdered in a log cabin. Okay, my log cabin will be a safe, lovely pink cloud space where everything will be well, and I will just write and have hot chocolate and come away really happy and very,
Excellent.
very
I'm with you. I
energetically
might come and knock
restored.
at the door.
Okay, but we won't talk a lot. Okay,
No, no, I might just for fun knock at the door and
run away.
or walk past with just for fun,
Okay, all right, great. That'll be fun.
And then I'll come back with wine.
Okay, then all will be well and all will be forgiven.
Oh, brilliant. Love it, love it. Shall we choose our closing card?
Yes, let's see where we are energetically now. Let's have a listen.
I've still got lots of lovely, fizzy, fabulous energy. It feels lovely. And it's beautifully wrapped in a so these are my two. So I feel proud of what we're doing. Um, and I do trust in this who needs to hear this will,
Mm,
you
mm.
know, and that might be no one, but who needs to hear what we have to say in the sharings that we're what's the
Putting
word?
out into the world.
Yeah, in the hope that it helps someone, right?
Yeah.
That's our hope here is
Even
that
if it's just us.
yes, just
That's
done.
all we
Bleh.
need. Very, very well. Well, mine is small steps climb big mountains. And I'm going to try and remember today that it's just step by step. Stop looking at the huge, big, overwhelming picture and go with the small steps, and that will move me forward. I mean,
And
it's
steps
bank
backwards
holiday.
or step backwards are also fine. I
They
think
are.
sometimes people judge, oh, I'm going backwards, but actually sometimes we need to retrace our steps to find a better path. We don't have to just keep trudging forwards.
Absolutely, absolutely. And today is a bank holiday here in Spain.
Another one.
Another one. Yeah, I can.
Excuse to have a duvet day, isn't it? Bank holiday
Well,
equals either party or sleeping.
in theory, yes, and the rest of the members of my family are all doing that still. I've heard one person potter around, but I'm going to go and have brunch now with my sister. So I'm going to take my laptop and I'll do a little bit of work later. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to take a step back from everything
Yeah.
for a couple of hours and readjust my energy and then
Excellent.
start
I'm
again.
going to add KFC to our list of sponsors. So we've got Victoria's Secret. Who was today's one? I've forgotten already.
Um,
But KFC, I'm going to see my youngest son in Oxford, though I will not be probably visiting that bookshop. I will be visiting KFC for the turkey stuffing stacker, which is going to be our Christmas lunch. So I am quite excited by that. And yes, we are accepting sponsorship KFC if you want to, send us
anyone,
vouchers.
anyone really? Anyone wants to sponsor us with anything?
'Cause this
Get
is
it
all for
there.
free and not for commercial gain.
All right, my love. Well, have a wonderful week. Enjoy your KFC.
I will be I'm still going to be in the UK next Monday because we fly back on Monday, but I'll be doing this before I leave.
Okay, well, we'll see you next week.
Yes, you will.
Be safe, be well.